Just before we make the Hikers Watch app, I just wanted to show you one more thing that you can do with locations on Android, and that is to work out the address of the location that you're at, which is known as geocoding. Fortunately for us, that's built into Android, and we can do it in just a few lines. So I'm going to show you that now, and then we can build that functionality into our Hikers Watch app. So we start by creating a new geocoder, which we'll call geocoder. And this is going to be a new geocoder. And we're going to define it with the application context using getApplicationContext. And then we define something known as the locale, which is locale. And essentially this is a format that we could use for the addresses or information that we're going to get back. So my advice would be to use the default one. So we're going to use locale.getDefault. But of course you could use any of those that we just saw there if you wanted to get a specific style of address returned. Okay, now to store our addresses, we're going to create a list of addresses. So there's actually an address variable type in Android that we can use to store the information that it's going to return to us. And we'll call that list addresses. And then we're going to get that information from geocoder get from location. You notice you can use get for location name as well there. That could be useful in other contexts if you wanted to search for a particular location. But we're going to get it from our location because that's what we've got. And then we pass it a latitude, a longitude, and you can see we then have number of results that we want to be returned, or max number of results, because there may be 0 results. So normally we just want 1. If you wanted to make an app which showed all the results, then obviously you would increase that. But normally if we just want to know where the user is and give them some information about that location, then the closest result, or just the first result, is going to be all that we need. And you can see we've got an error there. That's because it's insisting that we surround it with try or catch, which is very sensible because this could very much fail. Of course, this requires an internet connection, so we should definitely surround it with try and catch. Okay, so then we'll do a check to see if list addresses is not null, and we've got at least 1 address. We definitely shouldn't have more than 1 because we've specified 1 as being the maximum number that can be returned, but just in case, we'll look for bigger than 0 rather than just 1. Okay, so now we know that we've got a result. There's a number of different ways that we can get the information from that result. I'll show you the simplest first. So let's say we want to log place info. Then we just get list addresses dot get and then 0 because we just want the first one, even though that we're pretty sure that there's only 1, and then toString. So that will give us all the information in a single string. But while we're here, you can see we can get a specific address line, or we can get the country code, country name, phone number if there is one, postal code, all sorts of information about that particular place if we want to. Okay, but we'll just see what's returned at the moment using toString. There we go. One thing just to bear in mind is that we will need the internet permission for this. Because we're using the default Maps app, that's already in there. But if you are creating a GPS app, then you wouldn't necessarily have the internet permission enabled. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to add a place info search. And there you go. Now, if we go and have a quick look at the app, you can see I've narrowed in on a specific location purely by trial and error. I've ended up at the lovely town of East Grinstead, and that's the particular fix if you want to recreate that. And there you go. You can see we've got all this information returned. So the address line by line, and we've got various other information, which of course would vary depending on the particular location that you search for. Okay, so that's how you get the address of a particular location. Obviously, feel free to try that out with different locations just by updating the geofix here. Okay, now we're in a position to make the Hikers Watch app, and we'll do that in the next lecture.